In the late 1970s, the design of a Dungeons & Dragons adventure followed a philosophy known as Gygaxian naturalism. Dungeons were built as coherent ecosystems, where every monster placement and room layout had to make logical sense within the world. But this open-ended playstyle was incompatible with the logistical demands of a massive tabletop convention. In 1979, WinterCon 8 organizers in Detroit needed to run hundreds of players through the same adventure within a strict 4-hour time limit. This created a conflict. D&D is a cooperative game driven by imagination, yet the convention required a method to rank every team against one another to declare a single winner. The need for a mathematically measurable outcome forced a departure from organic storytelling, shifting the focus toward a style of play designed for ruthless, quantifiable competition. The mechanical response to this tournament problem was the module C2, the Ghost Tower of Inverness. This adventure popularized the funhouse dungeon, a design where architectural realism is discarded. Instead, the dungeon is a series of spectacular, disconnected puzzles that exist only to challenge the player's logic. To bypass the slow pace of standard exploration, the modules stripped players of their autonomy. They were assigned pre-generated characters, criminals bound in chains, offered a choice between retrieving a magical artifact or facing execution. By locking every team into the same roles with one singular objective, the designers eliminated narrative wandering and ensured the competition remained uniform and mathematically pure. The party begins by descending into the subterranean levels beneath the keep's ruins. They encounter environments like the chess room, where characters must move according to the rules of specific chess pieces to avoid triggering lethal traps and statues. These encounters were built to test the lateral thinking of the actual people at the table, rather than the statistical power of their fictional characters. Once the players assemble the 4 interlocking metal bars required to open the central chamber, they are caught in a trap that throws them backward in time. The ruins disappear, replaced by the intact, mystical Ghost Tower. Inside the tower, the tournament's internal math removed all random variance. To ensure fairness across hundreds of tables, monster damage was fixed. A strike from a fire giant dealt exactly 13 damage every single time. Environmental hazards further restricted the players. Casting a high-impact spell like a fireball or lightning bolt would trigger an immediate structural collapse, burying the entire party under tons of rubble. These mechanics discouraged standard adventuring tactics, turning the game into a rigid optimization puzzle where brute force often led to an immediate loss. The party must climb through 4 vertical levels, each themed after an element: air, earth, fire, and water. Navigating these hostile environments required precise spatial awareness. To manage the complexity, author Allen Hammack introduced visual aids, dedicated full-page illustrations for the Dungeon Master to show the players directly. Visual aid number 3 is a prime example of how these tools were weaponized. It shows a detailed spiraling iron staircase, but the Dungeon Master's map reveals that the room is actually empty. The staircase was an optical illusion. Stepping toward it triggered a localized reverse gravity field, launching the character into a hidden vertical chute. The designer provided concrete visual evidence specifically to trick the real-life players, creating a challenge that existed entirely outside of the character's abilities. At the tower's peak, the party finds the soul gem. This artifact is a death trap, designed to pull the souls out of anyone who approaches it. If the players attempt to destroy the gem, they trigger a kill screen mechanic. The shattered crystal releases 1 million trapped souls that instantly kill every living creature in the tower. Because the mission was so lethal, the Duke equipped the party with an amulet of recall. This ensured that even if characters died, the survivors could teleport back to be resurrected, allowing no one to be excluded from the final team score. This formula calculated a player's individual combat score, total damage dealt minus total damage received. This heavily penalized frontline fighters. Their role was to absorb damage, but because their damage taken variable was so high, they consistently scored lower than the protected spellcasters. This outcome illustrated the difficulty of quantifying a collaborative, class-based game into a fair individual sport without breaking the core roles of the players. TSR recognized the commercial value of this competitive format and published the C2 tournament module for the mass market in 1980. This allowed home groups to run their own structured, esports-style competitions, using the exact same tear-out scoring sheets found in the convention version. While the hobby eventually returned to its sandbox roots, the use of visual player handouts became a standard industry practice that persists to this day. The Ghost Tower of Inverness proved that a brutal, context-free gauntlet could leave an impression on the hobby that lasts for decades, highlighting a unique moment where D&D was measured by math rather than just story.